Imagine you are 50 miles from home. When the power grid suddenly goes dark, traffic on the interstate grinds to a dead, terrifying halt, and panic starts spreading through the gridlocked cars like a virus. People are abandoning their vehicles. The authorities are nowhere to be found in that exact moment of absolute chaos. What are you reaching for? If you think you are going to quickly swing a shiny 20-inch barreled AR-15 or an expensive precision rifle around the cramped, steering wheel-choked cabin of your pickup truck, you are setting yourself up for a catastrophic failure. A massive safe queen is a literal death sentence when you are trapped in the driver's seat and desperate rioters are trying to smash your window. You do not need a sniper rifle for vehicle defense. You need a dedicated truck gun, something ultra-compact to maneuver around your dashboard, something rugged enough to survive the meat-roasting temperatures of your vehicle's trunk in the dead of July, and most importantly, something with enough immediate, devastating firepower to punch a hole through the chaos and get you home to your family safely. Today, we are exposing the industry hype and breaking down the top 8 most reliable truck guns built specifically to survive a grid collapse. These are gritty, working-class lifesavers that fit under your back seat and share ammo with the sidearm on your belt, and you need to stay tuned until the very end. Because the firearm sitting at our #1 spot completely changes the game. It is an absolute survival legend that breaks down into 2 pieces and hides perfectly inside a greasy, unassuming tool bag, turning you from a vulnerable target into a survivor. Before you make an expensive mistake with your setup, hit that subscribe button right now to stay prepared and protect your family from being caught off guard. Coming in at number 8, we have to talk about a hidden truth that modern tactical snobs completely refuse to accept. A lot of people out there think lever-action rifles belong in a museum or a Western movie. Not in a modern survival scenario. The industry elites will tell you that if a gun does not have a 30-round magazine and a sensitive gas system, it is useless. That is a dangerous, narrow-minded trap. Enter the Rossi R92 Triple, black-chambered in .357 Magnum. This is not your grandfather's hunting rifle. This is a modernized, blacked-out, threaded barrel piece of insurance that thrives in the absolute worst conditions imaginable. When you are sitting in the driver's seat and the world outside your window is turning violent, you need a projectile that refuses to be stopped by safety glass or thin vehicle paneling. A .357 Magnum round fired out of a 16-inch carbine barrel gains a massive boost in velocity. It hits like an absolute freight train, while a standard lightweight pistol round might deflect off an angled windshield. This Rossi will punch a clean, devastating hole right through it, neutralizing a threat that is actively trying to rip your door handle off. But the real survival genius here is ammunition synergy. If you are already carrying a highly reliable .357 Magnum revolver on your hip, you only need to stockpile one type of caliber in your vehicle. One single box of ammunition feeds both your primary rifle and your backup sidearm. That is the kind of practical, working-class preparedness that saves your hard-earned money and ultimately saves your life. Now, let us talk about the downside that the internet commandos love to point out. Yes, it is a manual action weapon. You have to physically run the lever to cycle the next round, and in a moment of blind panic, you could potentially short-stroke it. But that manual action is exactly why it earns its place in your truck. It does not rely on complex gas systems that can foul up or fail. It does not care if it has been baking in a hot, dusty truck cabin for 3 summers straight without a single drop of gun oil. You pull the trigger, you work the lever, and it goes bang. And here is the ultimate kicker that most people miss: the legal trap. We live in a time where out-of-touch politicians are banning semi-automatic rifles overnight, turning everyday law-abiding citizens into felons with the stroke of a pen. The Rossi R92 completely bypasses that bureaucratic nightmare. It is virtually a 50-state legal powerhouse. If a grid collapse forces you to quickly evacuate and cross state lines, the very last thing you want is a highway checkpoint throwing you in cuffs because of a confusing new gun ban. This lever gun gives you uncompromising firepower, ruthless durability, and absolute legal peace of mind. Moving on to number 7. We are going to expose one of the biggest, most expensive scams in the firearms industry today. If you listen to the sponsored influencers and the tactical snobs, they will try to convince you that your life is only worth protecting if you spend upward of $2,000 on a fancy brand name 9mm pistol carbine. They want you buying into high-end aluminum receivers and designer logos, terrified that a budget-friendly gun will inevitably fail you when you need it most. That is an absolute lie designed to drain your wallet. Enter the Extar EP9. This American-made underdog is a massive slap in the face to the corporate giants, and it is easily one of the most underrated vehicle defense weapons on the market right now. Coming in at around $400, it completely shatters the myth that cheap means unreliable. The EP9 is constructed almost entirely of high-impact, reinforced polymer, which makes it shockingly lightweight. In a high-stakes vehicle ambush scenario, where you might be forced to steer with one hand and return fire with the other, you do not want a heavy, bulky chunk of metal dragging you down. You can effortlessly maneuver the Extar around a steering wheel, over a center console, and out a shattered window to break contact. But the real secret weapon of the EP9 is its logistical simplicity. It feeds flawlessly off standard Glock pattern magazines. This means those cheap, reliable 33-round stick mags you probably already own will lock right in. If you carry a Glock on your waist, your primary sidearm and your truck gun are now drinking from the exact same water supply. You are not fumbling around in the dark, trying to figure out which proprietary magazine goes to which weapon while a mob is surrounding your vehicle. Of course, the elite gatekeepers will immediately complain about the plastic film. They will whine that it is not a military-grade, aluminum-machined platform. But let us be brutally honest about the real world. You are not fast roping out of a Black Hawk helicopter. You are trying to get your family home alive through a gridlocked, riot-torn city. You can throw the Extar EP9 under a pile of jumper cables and dirty rags behind the bench seat of your work truck, ignore it for 3 brutal summers, and when that terrible day finally comes, it is going to feed, fire, and eject without missing a single beat. It is pure, affordable peace of mind for the working-class citizen. At number 6, we are diving headfirst into one of the most ridiculous hidden legal traps designed to turn law-abiding citizens into felons. If you try to saw down a standard hunting shotgun to make it fit inside your truck cabin, federal government will instantly classify you as a criminal for possessing an unregistered, short-barreled shotgun under the N. You could lose your freedom, your right to vote, and your family's financial security over a few inches of steel. But there is a massive, completely legal loophole that the anti-gun politicians absolutely hate, and it is called the Mossberg 590S Shockwave. Because of its specific overall length and specialized bird's head grip, the bureaucrats do not classify it as a shotgun at all. Legally speaking, it is simply a firearm, and that absurd bureaucratic definition gives you the ultimate close-quarters vehicle defense weapon without the hidden felony risk. When the grid collapses and you are completely trapped in a stationary vehicle, the real danger is not a sniper 300 yards away. The immediate threat is a desperate, violent looter actively smashing your passenger side window with a tire iron to drag you out. You need an absolute wrecking ball of close-range devastation. But a standard 28-inch hunting barrel will immediately get pinned against the steering wheel or the dashboard. The Shockwave, with its compact 14-inch barrel, thrives in that exact confined space. You can easily pivot this weapon inside the tightest truck cab and aim right through door frame to protect your family. But we specifically chose the 590S model for a critical survival reason that most people completely overlook. Traditional tube-fed shotguns hold a severely limited amount of ammunition, and reloading them under extreme, heart-pounding stress is an absolute nightmare. The 590S completely changes the math by being engineered straight from the factory to flawlessly cycle 1.75-inch mini shells without needing any cheap, unreliable aftermarket rubber adapters. This means you can stuff up to 9 rounds of buckshot into a weapon that is barely over 2 feet long. It dramatically reduces the recoil, preventing the gun from slipping out of your hands while still allowing you to unleash a devastating, unstoppable wall of lead at distances under 15 yards. If a violent mob tries to breach your vehicle, the Mossberg 590S Shockwave is the ultimate, undeniable stop sign. Coming in at number 5 is a weapon that the high-end tactical snobs absolutely love to make fun of. If you care more about looking cool in staged social media photos than actually surviving a highway gridlock, go ahead and ignore this one. But if you want pure, unfiltered utilitarian genius, you need to look at the Kel-Tec SUB-2000 Generation 3. This gun is not going to win any beauty contests. It is unapologetically blocky and feels like a piece of industrial hardware bolted polymer, but that ugly utilitarian design is exactly what makes it one of the most brilliant vehicle survival tools ever invented for the working-class citizen. The core survival value of the SUB-2000 is its mind-blowing mechanical party trick. It literally folds completely in half. When folded, it shrinks down to a mere 16 inches. You can wedge it securely between the center console and the passenger seat, tuck it inside an ordinary laptop bag, or bury it under the floorboards of your cab. In a society where simply possessing a firearm can make you an immediate target for desperate thieves or overzealous authorities, absolute concealment is a superpower. You never want to advertise to a massive traffic jam full of panicked, unpredictable people that you have a rifle sitting out in the open. Now, you might have heard people complaining about the older versions of this gun, and for a long time, those complaints were completely justified. The previous generations forced you to choose between having the gun folded flat or having a red dot sight mounted. It was a fatal flaw that ruined the concept of a rapid deployment weapon. But the new Generation 3 completely obliterated that trap. Kel-Tec finally engineered a twisting barrel mechanism that allows the entire gun to fold flat, while keeping your optic securely mounted and perfectly zeroed. You pull it out from under your seat, flick your wrist to snap it locked tight, and you instantly have an illuminated red dot floating on your target in under 2 seconds. And once again, this weapon taps directly into the ultimate preparedness strategy, logistical synergy. The SUB-2000 is designed to take the exact same Glock magazines as the 9mm handgun you are likely already carrying. Imagine the worst-case scenario where your vehicle is permanently disabled and you are forced to abandon your truck and make a desperate push home on foot. You do not have the luxury of lugging around a heavy tactical vest with multiple different calibers. You need a streamlined, lightweight system. If your sidearm runs dry, you simply reach into your jacket, pull out a 33-round Glock stick magazine, and slam it right into the grip of this carbine. It is cheap, it is undeniably ugly, and it will absolutely keep you breathing when the polished $3,000 Safe Queens choke on the reality of a street-level disaster. Before we reveal number 4, we need to take a quick second. I want you to be totally honest with yourself right now. Look down or look behind you. What is sitting directly under the back seat of your truck right now? Is it a rusted-out tire iron, a baseball bat, or maybe just a pile of empty fast food bags? If you do not have a dedicated plan for vehicle defense, you are not a survivor. You are a target. Drop a comment right now and tell the community what your current vehicle defense setup looks like. There are no wrong answers here, only lessons. We need real-world experiences from working people, not theoretical nonsense from some expert sitting in an air-conditioned office. Now, coming in at number 4, we have to address the elephant in the room. Your truck is not a gun safe. It is a hostile environment. In the middle of summer, the trunk or cab of your vehicle can easily hit meat roasting temperatures over 150 degrees, which will effectively bake any delicate internal components, sensitive electronics, or cheap gun oil into a useless, sticky sludge. In the winter, it becomes a freezing metal box, while the elite tactical snobs online are busy obsessing over complex AR-15 gas systems that require constant lubrication and pristine conditions to function. You need something that is absolutely bulletproof to environmental abuse. You need an AK, specifically the Zastava Z-BAP-92 pistol. This is the real-world truth that the sponsored shills online will never tell you. In a grid collapse scenario on a crowded highway, you need extreme barrier penetration, not surgical accuracy. A standard lightweight 8R 15 round is designed to fragment upon impact. It might stop completely when it hits a solid car door, a bulky engine block, or even a piece of laminated safety glass. In a high-stakes ambush, you cannot afford to play that dangerous guessing game with your life. The ZPAP-92 is chambered in 7.6 2x39. This is a .30 caliber, heavy-hitting communist round that simply does not care what is in its way. It will punch directly through vehicle paneling, glass, and residential drywall without flinching. It is the ultimate insurance policy for turning a threat's cover back into mere concealment. The ZPAP-92 features a short, 10-inch barrel, giving it an overall length of well under 20 inches. This makes it devastatingly effective at maneuvering inside a crowded, steering wheel-choked cabin. You can tuck this thing under your arm, pivot in the driver's seat, and cover every single window angle. Now, the snobs will immediately point out that a 10-inch barrel on a 7.62 platform creates a massive muzzle blast, and they are absolutely right. This gun creates a concussive shockwave that you will feel in your teeth, especially inside a truck. But when you are trying to break out of a violent mob that is actively rocking your vehicle, a concussive boom that sounds like artillery going off is not a defect. It is a feature. It is a psychological shutdown mechanism. It sends a violent, unmistakable message to everyone within 100 yards that they picked the wrong target. It is rugged, reliable, and ruthless. It is exactly what a true truck gun is supposed to be. Coming in at number 3 is a weapon that absolutely humiliated the established players in the folding carbine market. For years, the industry elites told you that if you wanted a compact, foldable survival gun, you had to accept dangerous compromises. They told you to deal with complicated optics mounts, fragile hinges, and awkward storage solutions. Then Smith & Wesson completely kicked the doors down and taught everyone a brutal lesson with the FPC, or folding pistol carbine. This is not a fragile, overpriced range toy meant for taking pretty pictures. This is a purpose-built, high-capacity survival tool designed to get you out of a collapsing city alive. The biggest hidden trap with most folding rifles is the optic situation. When you fold a barrel up or down, you run the massive, life-threatening risk of losing your zero. That means when you finally pull the trigger to save your family, your bullet misses the target completely, and you have given away your position. Smith & Wesson completely bypassed this trap by engineering a brilliant, heavy-duty side folding mechanism. The barrel swings to the side, leaving the top receiver and your optic completely undisturbed. You can mount a high-quality red dot sight, fold the gun in half, throw it behind your truck seat, and confidently know that when you snap it open 3 years later, that red dot is going to be dead on target. But what truly elevates the FPPC into a legendary truck gun is the sheer overwhelming volume of immediate firepower it brings to a fight without requiring you to wear a tactical vest or carry a heavy backpack. The stock of the FPPC is not just a piece of plastic to rest your cheek against. It is a rapid deployment armory. It features a brilliantly integrated magazine storage system that holds 2 extended backup magazines with a quick release tab. When you pull this weapon out of its discreet carrying bag, you are not just grabbing a gun, you are grabbing the weapon, the primary magazine, and 2 massive backup magazines, all in one single uninterrupted motion. In a terrifying scenario where your vehicle is disabled by debris, and you are forced to abandon your truck and move on foot, seconds dictate who lives and who dies. You grab the FPPC, snap the barrel forward in a fraction of a second, and you instantly have over 60 rounds of 9mm ammunition in your hands, ready to deploy. It uses the highly reliable M&P pistol magazines, meaning if you already carry a Smith & Wesson sidearm, your ammunition logistics are completely flawless. There are no unnecessary bells and whistles here. There is no fragile, over-engineered nonsense to break when you drop it. It is a rugged, reliable, and wickedly fast problem solver that gives you an immediate, overwhelming advantage when the world around your truck goes completely dark. Coming in at number 2 is the undisputed king of sheer, overwhelming firepower. But it comes with a massive, terrifying legal trap that you absolutely must understand before you put it in your vehicle. Let us be brutally honest for a second. When it comes to stopping a dedicated, drug-fueled threat, anywhere from 0 to 200 yards, there is absolutely no substitute for the raw velocity and terminal ballistics of a 5.56 or 2.23 rifle round. While pistol calibers are fantastic for close-quarters evasion, a true rifle round delivers the kind of devastating hydrostatic shock that instantly shuts down an attacker wearing heavy winter clothing or improvised armor, but a standard ADAR. 15 is a massive, unwieldy metal pole that will get you killed if you try to swing it around inside a cramped truck cabin. That is exactly where the ADAR 15 pistol, specifically equipped with a law tactical folding adapter, enters the survival equation. This single, heavy-duty piece of machined steel is the ultimate mechanical game-changer. It takes the bulky, awkward AIA platform and snaps the buffer tube completely to the side, folding the weapon into a compact, squared-off block. You can shove this setup into a standard, unassuming gym bag or slide it effortlessly under your driver's seat. When the windshield shatters and the mob swarms your truck, you pull it out, lock the brace into place with a single, aggressive flick of your wrist, and you are immediately wielding the most capable defensive platform on the planet. But here is the critical warning. And you need to listen closely because this is where the government is actively trying to ruin your life. The unelected bureaucrats at the ADTF have turned the legal definition of an ADAR, pistol, and a stabilizing brace into an absolute, ever-changing minefield. With the stroke of a pen in a closed-door meeting, they have attempted to turn millions of completely law-abiding citizens into federal criminals overnight by changing the rules on what constitutes an unregistered, short-barreled rifle. They want you confused. They want you terrified of building a highly capable truck gun, hoping you will just give up, throw your hands in the air, and leave yourself completely defenseless. You cannot let them win. You have to be meticulously careful and hyper-aware of the current, up-to-the-minute local and federal laws regarding pistol braces, overall barrel lengths, and how a loaded firearm is legally transported in a vehicle in your state. Do not give these anti-gun politicians the satisfaction of catching you in a hidden compliance trap and permanently stripping away your Second Amendment rights. You must stay legally vigilant, but you must never, ever compromise on the ultimate safety of your family. If you can navigate their bureaucratic nightmare, a folded OR pistol gives you the absolute pinnacle of vehicle survival firepower. And now, we have finally reached number 1. We promised you an absolute game changer at the very beginning of this video, and it is time to deliver. When the grid collapses, the elites and the tactical influencers want you to believe that survival belongs to the guy wearing the most expensive camouflage, carrying the flashiest, most heavily accessorized rifle on the market. That is a fatal delusion in a true disaster scenario, where desperate, panicked people are looking for targets of opportunity. The person who survives is the one who goes completely unnoticed. The ultimate survivor is the gray man, and the ultimate gray man vehicle defense weapon, the Ruger PC. Carbine takedown. This is not a weapon that screams for attention, and that is exactly its greatest superpower. The undeniable genius of this rifle lies in its flawless, dead simple takedown mechanism. With the push of a single recessed lever under the barrel and a quick, aggressive twist of the wrist, this entire rugged carbine splits cleanly into two incredibly compact halves. You do not need a specialized tactical backpack covered in military webbing to transport it. You can literally drop both halves of this rifle directly into a dirty, grease-stained canvas tool bag right next to your jumper cables and a rusty socket set. If you are ever forced to abandon your stranded truck and walk through a chaotic, desperate crowd to get back to your family, absolutely no one is going to look twice at an exhausted guy carrying an old tool bag. You become completely invisible, holding a devastating level of firepower that no one knows exists until the exact second you are forced to deploy it. But the survival brilliance of the Ruger PC carbine does not stop at extreme concealment. Out of the box, Ruger includes a revolutionary interchangeable magazine well system. If you spend 2 minutes at your workbench swapping out that factory insert, suddenly, this rugged survival rifle flawlessly accepts standard 9mm Glock magazines. Once again, we are talking about the absolute pinnacle of logistical preparedness. If you are running a Glock sidearm, your belt and your hidden tool bag are running on the exact same ammunition ecosystem. Now, the internet snobs love to complain about one specific detail regarding this firearm. They will whine endlessly on forums that the Ruger PC carbine is too heavy for a 9mm platform. They completely miss the point of practical survival physics. That extra weight is not a flaw. It is a massive, life-saving feature, because this gun is slightly heavier and utilizes an incredibly solid, overbuilt blowback action. It absorbs almost all of the felt recoil. Firing a 9mm round out of this carbine feels like shooting a loud BD gun. There is practically Z's muzzle rise. This means that under extreme, terrifying stress, when your adrenaline is completely maxed out and your hands are shaking violently, you can keep your sights dead on target and deliver rapid, pinpoint follow-up shots. It also means that if you are severely injured, or if you need to hand this weapon to an older family member or a spouse who might be highly sensitive to heavy rifle recoil, they can operate it with total confidence and lethal efficiency. In a world rapidly falling apart, the survivor is not the one with the loudest, most expensive toy. It is the one holding a completely reliable, deeply concealed tool that simply refuses to quit. At the end of the day, you have to start looking at your truck as more than just a way to get to work. When the grid completely fails and the world goes violently dark, your vehicle is your ultimate lifeboat. It is the only thing standing between you and the absolute chaos of the streets. Do not gamble your life and the safety of your family by betting on overpriced, fragile tactical garbage that belongs in a glass display case. Get a dedicated, rugged truck gun, keep it completely hidden, and know exactly how to use it under pressure. If you want to stay ahead of the hidden legal traps and avoid making disastrous financial mistakes with your survival gear, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Do not let the industry elites leave you defenseless and uninformed, and do the right thing. Share this video directly with a friend or family member who spends hours out on the highway completely unprotected. Stay sharp Trust your instincts, and we will see you on